You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion. Delivered by conflicting media reports, we connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and first-timer on Ron Siegel Radio, Lisa Thornton, RSC Law Group. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990. And of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. No, not the release of Grindr. We're not celebrating that one, but we'll talk about it in a minute. Today, Crossword Solvers Day. I could never do those things very well. I'm really bad at that. Pretend to be a time traveler day. Back to the Future. I think we'll skip that one too. Having beaten anorexia, you know where we're going today. We're going to National Brownie Day. Yeah, let's see. And of course, my team does great. We got a brownie with some whipped cream right there. Nice. Got to love that one. Now, where are you getting the best brownies at? I know where I go, but you tell me if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv. If you're watching us on any of the socials, Josh, did they change the link on there? Is it still streamyard.com/user? I think that's what it is. And we can actually see who we're talking to if you want to put in the chat where you're getting your best brownies. Just put that streamyard.com/Facebook. Got it. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing today. Does it matter? Okay, the Dow Jones is up 200. The S&P is up 25. The NASDAQ's up 102. Oil up 54 cents a barrel. It's at 72.55. Wonder how those predictions or forecasts are going for you, Jamie Dimon. But we'll continue to watch that and see where we move with that one. And the national average of a gallon of gasoline, $3.33 a gallon. What are we paying in California?
It is what it is.
Yeah, $4.62 a gallon. $4.62. Catching you, Josh. You're over there at $4.35. Around the horn for the team. Let's take a look and let's see what's going on. Josh is at $4.35. Jody's at $3.76. Brittany's at $3.05 right there. $3.05 in Colorado. And our tremendous underwriter, Lori, I get so envious. $2.91 a gallon she's paying for gasoline right now in Louisiana. They don't even need a Tesla over there. Moving right along, let's see what's going on in the news today. Do we want to see what's going on in the news today? With all it's going to be about next week. Next week is where all of the news is coming out. When we talk about inflation, we'll hear about that next week. We're going to get another increase in interest rates from the Fed next week. We'll see that one coming on. We're going to get the PCE. The government doesn't like to follow that one. Or the CPI, they don't follow that one. I wonder if the Federal Reserve is going to get an advanced look at that before they make their announcement as to how much they're going to increase interest rates. Now, remember, when the Federal Reserve increases interest rates, that has nothing to do with mortgage rates. And I'm going to share with you, they will probably go in opposite directions. As the Federal Reserve increases, I'm going to share with you that our mortgage rates will go down. Why? Well, it's basically because inflation is the arch enemy of mortgage rates. And when the inflation starts coming down, we're going to see some enhancements. We'll see some improvement in mortgage rates. Remember, I told you we've been looking at about a 3-point spread between the 10-year Treasury, which does not control mortgage rates, and the mortgage-backed securities. Normally, that's about a 1.75 spread. So being that that spread has gotten too big, it's going to get a little bit closer, and we're going to watch that. Now, I'm looking right now, the mortgage-backed securities are down a little bit, but they've been doing that every morning all week. They've been down a bit, and they end up the day where they continue to go up. And I'm looking at the 10-year Treasury right now. It's up 6 basis points at 3.46. Well, if we get below 3.4, we'll probably drop all the way down to 3.1. Will it go straight down? No. But that's where we're heading. And again, that means that we'll get some better interest rates in the mortgage world. Let's see what else is going on in the world, being that we've got so much to talk about this time of year. Yeah, did you see that the Biden administration, did you see what they did this morning? You got to love this one. So we traded an arms dealer for a basketball player. Only in a Biden administration will they make a trade like that. And I'm glad that we've got the basketball player coming home. She broke the law, supposedly. So do you get in trouble for breaking the law? Well, sometimes. I guess certain people get away with it. That's a whole different story. But the bottom line is we left a Marine there so that we could bring the basketball player home. Does that make any – is there a correlation there? There's probably just not as much notoriety from one versus the other. And again, very, very thankful that we've got the one coming home. But the bottom line is an arms dealer. What do you think he's going to go back to Russia to do? To start basket weaving? I kind of doubt that, especially when they've got a war going on right now. But that's just the way it's going. That's kind of the way of the world right now. And the president took his victory lap. He doesn't know that he took a victory lap this morning, but he was there. There was a camera there. I'm not sure he remembers that he was there. It's a shame that we see that going on, but it is what it is. We're dealing with that these days. A lot going on in the world, but we're going to talk about home and finance. And today we're actually going to learn about, I like myths, because how do we learn really a lot of things? Well, it's by mistakes. You don't learn a lot from successes. You learn a lot from mistakes. And, we've done quite a few broadcasts talking about divorce and family law. And we talk about all these things that go on. We've talked about collaborative law, and we've talked about mediation. We've talked about contested divorces. But, that's great information. I've learned a lot from it. But now we get to talk about myths, and we're going to learn about the myths today. And I think you're going to find it very fascinating. I never even knew that we had divorce season. But we're coming up upon divorce season. We'll talk about that as well. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, key advantages of buying a home today. In the Better Outcomes segment, the value of an equity buyout pre-approval in a changing mortgage environment. We'll talk about that and more. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in less than a minute.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. Good morning, Monica. Glad to have you with us. If you need some help with placing your senior, the loved ones, in a community, Monica is a great resource for that. Glad to have you with us. Glad to have you streaming in. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. S&P 500 now up 27.79. The mortgage-backed securities are down 17 basis points. That's the bond, so it means interest rates are up. They travel in opposite directions. 10-year Treasury is up 6 basis points. And every day at this time, love the information that we get from our friends at OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 30-year conforming loans locked yesterday, 6.335. Jumbos at 6.497. FHA at 6.332. USDA, for those of you in the rural areas, generally no down payment, 6.372. And the best loan on the market, only for those that earned it. It's the VA loan, 30 years, 6.162. These are rates that locked yesterday. I don't know whether they paid points or not on them. It's just the actual locking number, the locking rate, according to our friends over at OBMMI. And why? Because you can find that information if you knew where to look. You could find that almost anywhere on that super secret website, google.com. But the why of this is the big issue. So why? Well, we're looking at the PPI number, the Producer Price Index. That's an inflation report. It's going to be released. That's going to come out tomorrow. We think there's a good chance it makes a big move lower. While it does not get the respect of the Consumer Price Index report, we think it could be dramatic enough to be a positive for bonds. That means that we should see some lower interest rates if our forecasting is correct. Fast forward to next week, Tuesday, we have the CPI report where we think we'll continue to see headline and core inflation move lower. Additionally, Wednesday, the Fed meeting will commence and they will release their statement and Powell will have a press conference. Remember what happened last time he had a press conference? Even though the Fed is going to hike 50 basis points, we think they have to acknowledge the drop in inflation, which could be bond friendly. If their tone is a bit less hawkish, we could see another nice move in the bond markets. Looking for a used car? Got one to sell. When looking at the automobile market, which is an interest rate sensitive sector, we're seeing more weakness. Yesterday, Manheim said wholesale used car prices fell 0.3% in November and are lower by 14.2% since last year. 14.2. Trend is encouraging and will help inflation. Initial jobless claims, which measures individuals filing unemployment benefits for the very first time, rose 4,000 to 230,000. It's important to note that this is still a new crop of people filing for unemployment benefits from last week. And once they're let go, they're having a hard time finding a new job. This is evidenced by the continuing claims or those that continue to receive benefits after their initial claims, which rose another 62,000 to 1.67 million. They've now risen by 325,000 over the last 8 weeks and are at the highest level in 10 months, even with all the job openings out there. Companies are clearly limiting their hiring. So we're watching that part of it for you as well. And unfortunately, Freddie Mac, wait a second, I just updated it. So did they. Freddie Mac, they generally will give us their interest rate, 30-year fixed rate loans every Thursday morning. It used to be at 7 a.m. They did it. They were pretty efficient. Haven't been so efficient lately. 6.33 is what the Freddie Mac number was. They used to tell us how many points you had to pay to get that. They don't do that anymore. So 6.33 is what Freddie Mac says the rate is as of their report this morning. And OBMMI says 6.33. I wonder if they copied. OBMMI is always more accurate because they're doing real numbers, and the Freddie Mac is they're basically going and just doing a survey. So that's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So let's learn today. We've got myths. I love getting into the myths of things that are going on because we get to learn from some of that stuff. Lisa Thornton, she is an attorney. She is a family law attorney. She is not giving us legal advice today. We don't do that on Ron Siegel Radio. We're trying to educate. If you would like legal advice, well, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I will not give you legal advice, but I'll put you in touch with Lisa so she can give you legal advice. She's the one that's got all those licenses and degrees and education and all that good stuff. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us. So we're talking about divorce today, and it's going to ruin my life. Is that it? Is that a fact or a myth?
It's a myth.
Okay, so it's not going to ruin my life.
No. In fact, sometimes after divorce, you come out on the other end even better.
You know something? It's kind of interesting that you say that because I've got a friend of mine that's been on the broadcast several times, and she works in the bankruptcy arena. And in the bankruptcy arena, it's almost always the case that you get that what do they call it, the elephant in the room off your back, and you feel a little better by having gone through the process. Divorce sounds like maybe divorce is the same.
It can be, and it's all about your perspective. But sometimes people think that when they're getting divorced, their life is over, and really, it's just the beginning of your next phase of your life.
A new chapter.
Yes. Well,
and you know it's interesting because whenever I've talked to family lawyers, my question always becomes, there was some reason, and I don't know what it was, that you got married, right?
Exactly. You were in love
or lust or whatever, right? We're not going down that road. This is a family show, right? But there was a reason for it. Now you think that instead of just parting amicably, you have to hate each other and try and destroy each other.
And that's not necessarily the case. In fact, sometimes I tell my clients, you can either pay me or you can use that money to put your kids through college. If you want to agree and try to compromise, you'll save a lot of money in attorney's fees, and you'll also save a lot of emotional angst that you and your spouse and your children, in fact, your whole community, can be affected by a divorce. So the more reasonable you are, the quicker, better able you are to move on with your life.
Now, before the broadcast, you and I, I'm not going to mention any names here, but you and I were talking about an attorney that actually likes to kind of antagonize his clients so that they can build up the tab a little bit more. That's not your process.
That's not how I work. To me, I think I can zealously advocate for my client by helping the entire family. The family, the other, the spouse, the children, everybody's affected. So if one person is going through angst and you're trying to create fights, and not only is it costing you a lot more money, but it's also taking time out of your life that you could be moving on to something more positive.
A little more enjoyable. And you don't have to hate each other. You can actually pick up a phone and talk to each other if you ever wanted to.
Or meet for coffee like my ex-husband and I do.
Yeah, there you go. So let's get into some of the myths that are out there.
Okay.
Do I have to pay spousal? Well, I don't, because I'm 35 years into a life sentence. But spousal support, do I have to pay it for life?
It never has to be for life. A short-term marriage is anything under 10 years. A long-term marriage is anything 10 years and over. So just because it's called permanent spousal support doesn't mean it's for life. It really depends. It depends on a lot of facets. There's the length of the marriage, the health of the parties, the age of the parties. There's a lot of things that go into how long, and you can always get a post-judgment. We call it a post-judgment spousal support modification. And you can file for that after divorce, years after the divorce, to get it modified, depending on if you're retiring. It's based on we call it a material change in circumstance.
So it's, I've never gone to law school. My wife told me I should go to law school. She told me that many, many years ago. And it seems like every course in law, because I talk to family lawyers and estate planning attorneys and bankruptcy attorneys and all these other attorneys, criminal lawyers, and they all have the same answer to half the questions.
It depends.
It depends. Is that like did they teach that in law school?
Like the first day we got there.
Okay. So now I went to Chapman College. It was before it was a university. And the late Essie Adibi once said when he was teaching statistics, he didn't say it depends. He said, "No, learn my name because most of you are going to be back here for this class next semester." Right? So he didn't even say it depends. So I think I had to do statistics. That was a tough class for me too. Okay. So let's continue on. We are on a home and finance radio show, which I talk about everything that affects the roof over your head and your bank account. So how do I know what's mine and what's hers and what's ours? And if I have a house that was mine before we got married, do I have to share?
Well, I'm going to tell you
it depends.
Answer.
Okay.
It depends. And
Josh, we need a jingle for it depends.
Well, it depends on, did you make a down payment before you were married? Did any of your income during marriage go to a mortgage, lower the principal? That would be dependent on whether somebody has a community property interest in that real property. So a lot of different factors will change the answer to that question.
So there's a lot to it. Okay, so the bottom line on that one is, if you want some great advice on that, here's the issue. Go to mydymworkbook.com, mydymworkbook.com. Get a copy of the Divorce Your Mortgage Workbook. Am I going to answer your question as to whether you get to keep the house? No. But what we're going to do there is you're going to put in all this information. We're going to create a report for you and your attorney, right? So that they can actually go and check it out and have an organized way of taking a look at it. mydymworkbook.com, and we'll be able to get that information to you. We're going to continue our conversation with Lisa Thornton when we come back, learning more myths about divorce. We'll talk more about that. Key advantages of buying a home today. And in the Better Outcomes segment, the value of an equity buyout, pre-approval in a changing mortgage environment. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. We'll be back in less than a minute.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Key advantages of buying a home today. Not necessarily today, but right away. There's no doubt buying a home today is different than it was over the past couple of years, and the shift in the market has led to advantages for buyers today. Right now, there are specific reasons that make this housing market attractive for those who've thought about buying but have sidelined their search due to rising mortgage rates. Buying a home in any market is a personal decision, and the best way to make that decision is to educate yourself on the facts, not following sensationalized headlines in the news today. The reality is, headlines do more to terrify people thinking about buying a home than they do to clarify what's actually going on within real estate. Here are 3 reasons potential home buyers should consider buying a home today. Number 1, more homes are for sale right now, according to data from the National Association of Realtors, NAR. This year, the supply of homes for sale has grown significantly compared to where we started the year. And if you're watching us on Ron Siegel Radio or any of our socials, the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're actually seeing a chart of the supply of homes for sale and how it has grown since the beginning of the year. For those of you listening to us on radio, you go back and you can take a look and see this chart really shows that the amount of homes is almost doubled in the month supply. We went from a 1.6 month supply to a 3.3 month supply as of the last data available, October. This growth has happened for 2 reasons: homeowners listing their homes for sale and homes staying on the market a bit longer as buyer demand has moderated in response to higher mortgage rates. The good news is for you is that more inventory means more homes to choose from, and when there are more homes on the market, you could also see less competition for other buyers because the peak frenzy of competing over the same home has eased. Home prices are not, let me say that again, they are not projected to crash. I know people are saying they're going to go down. Experts don't believe home prices will crash like they did in 2008. Instead, home prices will moderate at various levels depending on the local market and the factors like supply and demand. That's why some experts are calling for slight appreciation, other callers for slight depreciation. And we've got a graph for this one as well. And I'm going to tell you that you can look at the whole graph or just go to the home price expectation survey, which takes all of the other ones into account. 2.6% appreciation for next year, 2.6%. If you consider the big picture and average the expert forecasts for 2023, the expectation is for relatively flat or neutral price appreciation. Don't think it's going to be 2008. Don't think you're going to go and get this great deal. Number 3, mortgage rates have risen, but they will come down. While mortgage rates have risen dramatically this year, the rapid increases we've seen have moderated in recent weeks as early signs hint that inflation may be easing slightly. Where they'll go from here largely depends on what happens next with inflation. If inflation does truly begin to cool, mortgage rates may come down as a result. When that happens, expect more buyers to jump back into the market. For you, that means you'll once again face more competition. Buying your house now before more buyers re-enter the market could help you get one step ahead. As Lawrence Yoon, chief economist for NAR, says, quote, the upcoming months should see a return of buyers as mortgage rates appear to have already peaked and have been coming down since mid-November, unquote. Mortgage rates come down, those waiting on the sidelines will jump back in. Your advantage is getting in before they do because you're not married to the mortgage. You can get a new one. Don't worry about it. Bottom line, if you're thinking about buying a new home, let's talk about it right now. And if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or borrow on real estate, can I count on you for that introduction? We'll help them, and we'll set up that game plan for them as well. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com. Hey, check that button on the far right that says login, and then you can actually get all kinds of information either on the property you currently live in, the property you own, or properties you're thinking about buying or neighborhoods you're thinking about buying. rsrhomescout.com. Continue our conversation this morning, talking with attorney Lisa Thornton, RSC Law Group. We are learning. We are not getting legal advice because we don't do that on Ron Siegel Radio. If you want legal advice, no problem. Call me 800-306-1990, and I'll put you in touch with Lisa so she can give you legal advice because she's got the rights to do it. And I should mention, because of our dealings as a certified divorce lending professional, even there, we're not giving legal advice, right? We understand the intersection of family law, real estate, and home loans and taxes, but we don't give the legal advice or tax advice. We stay in our lane and just help there. So let's get back to our conversation, myths. And so far, we've talked about 3 different myths, and the answer to all of them has been the same. So we're going to see if we can find a different answer on something here. Okay, Lisa, my name is on the bank account, so the money's mine.
No.
Oh, it's not an it depends. Okay, no, it doesn't.
Not all yours.
Okay.
If you have a bank account during marriage, that is one of the assets that is divided. California is a community property state.
Explain what that means.
Community property means that all assets and debts are divided equally.
Okay, in the community.
Yes,
within the parties.
Between the parties, right. So each party would have a community interest in a bank account. Now, if the bank account, you can say it depends on this question too. Because if they had the bank account before marriage and then it just existed during marriage, that's one thing. But if we use the word commingle, if you commingle those assets, then there could be a community property interest by the other party. For the other party in that account. But it doesn't matter what name it's, the account or the credit card. That's the same way.
Same way. Okay. So I'm going to throw one extra issue in there. If you're getting divorced and making the mortgage payment out of an account that is commingled or has both parties' names on it, that can be a potential red flag problem for getting new financing down the road. So if you want more information on that, give me a call because I understand the financing part. I don't know the law. That's you leave that to the lawyers to hash out. But I can just tell you that in part of the lending guidelines, there can be some challenges when you're making a mortgage payment out of a commingled account, depending upon how it's getting paid. So just be careful of that one. And if you get that, my DYM workbook, we put that information in there.
And another great thing that you can do is instead of if one of you is going to keep the house and the other one's going to keep other assets, you can there's a way to sign away the deed It's called an interspousal transfer deed, and that's beneficial to you instead of having to file a quit claim deed. So you get a tax benefit.
Got to have the tax benefits. Got to see that's why you need. And I'm a big proponent. I'll ask you this question: do you work as a I know you've got the attorneys, and in various parts of family law, either each party has their own attorney, or you have a team, a mediator, or a collaboration where they have their own attorneys, whatever. But do you think that someone's better off having a team of people, or just trying to go it on their own with just the attorneys?
I think having a team is very beneficial because an attorney isn't a tax expert. An attorney isn't a mortgage expert. We know family law. So we know the law of divorce and custody and those issues, but we're not experts in tax. We're not experts. And we'll tell you to go speak to a CPA. But there is also collaborative divorce where you do have a team that works on your case. I'm a litigator.
Okay.
So I litigate divorce. But yeah, I definitely think it's good to have a team.
You're probably, and I'm not trying to be facetious, but what I've seen so far, for the most part, is you're probably too young to be the collaborative. Right? It seems to me that the litigators, when they're getting ready to retire, that's when they go to collaborative. Because they're
worn out.
They're probably worn out. They're not looking to have to look over their shoulder all the time. It's a little more amicable.
Right.
And
correct.
that's just what I've seen. I mean, I may be wrong because obviously I haven't seen as many attorneys as you.
I definitely want settlement. For a party to settle, as I said earlier, that's the best thing that you can do is settle. You don't want, and the judges say, you don't want a stranger in a black robe making the determination for your family. You know your family better than this stranger does. So anything you can agree on, you're all better off.
It's kind of funny you say that because it's kind of we talked about the same thing when I talked to estate planning attorneys, right? Everybody's got an estate plan. The real question is, did you create it or did the state create it? Are they going to be the ones that are going to make the decisions?
Right.
And who's better to take care of, to know who's going to take care of your kids and your assets than you? And
Exactly.
you're kind of saying the same thing in the family law. Do you want the judge deciding who's getting what or who's doing what?
And sometimes a judge, depending on their mood, there's law, but in family law, we're called a court of equity. So you're trying to achieve equity, and trying to do that. Oftentimes, I think I've had judges say, "Look, let's let both of you leave unhappy."
Yeah, something that's a good point. And one of the things that I've heard from other family lawyers is the judge has the law, which is the lowest standard, lowest common denominator. As the parties, they can pretty much do what they want, as long as it's not violating the law. But it could be way more determinant, based on what they want to do,
and detail oriented. And and I've also heard judges say a lot of times it's like, if you guys can't come to some sort of an arrangement, how do you expect me to? And I don't even know you. So a lot of times, if parties are just won't compromise, neither one will compromise, and nobody's being reasonable, it's upsetting to the rest of the community, the judges and the attorneys, to where it's like, okay, well then here's what I'm going to do, and then neither one of you get what you want. And so it just doesn't make any sense. And
is that a real statement? Because I've heard some people say that, well, the judge said either you guys figure it out or I'll make both of you angry.
I don't know that I've heard a judge specifically say that, but after I've been in court long enough, I figure out it's
an implication.
Okay. Yes, exactly.
I'm not going to tell you that, but either go outside and figure things out, or you're not going to be.
Yeah, I see it right away.
Yeah.
I see it right away. And it kind of makes, even though maybe my client isn't getting exactly what they want because the judge, decided the third decision, it kind of makes me happy because if nobody's willing to compromise and nobody's willing to sacrifice, then this divorce can go on for years.
Can it really?
Yeah, I have one that's 5 years old that I'm going
Holy
in
cow.
to try to get a trial scheduled. And so it's a lot of money and it's a lot of time and a lot of emotional,
Our financial
costs.
services friends call that an annuity.
Yeah.
You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, more with Lisa Thornton. We're talking the myths of divorce. And I think that I've got, we're going to do at least a little bit, the value of an equity buyout pre-approval in a changing mortgage environment. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. We'll be back in less than a minute.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at RonIsMyLender.com. That's RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey friends, do you dream of mortgage-free home ownership? Are you aware that even if you own your home free and clear, it could still be costing you thousands per year? The Siegel Lending Team can help you generate tax-free income, accumulate family wealth, and maintain ownership of your home. By simply emailing your most recent mortgage statement, you'll receive a no-obligation real estate plan. Learn more by calling 1-800-306-1990 or email me your recent mortgage statement to PEAR@RonSiegelRadio.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Better Outcomes segment today being brought to you by mycdlp.com, mycdlp.com. Better Outcomes segment. So the value of an equity buyout pre-approval in a changing mortgage environment. And we've got a full report that we actually did on this. And if you want to get a copy of the full report, give me a call. I'm going to tell you what it is. But if you send us a message at Ron Siegel Radio, Ron at Ron Siegel Radio, or go to RJ at RonSiegelRadio.com, we'll send you the full report. The bottom line here, mortgage rates on a 30-year fixed rate loans rising over 6%. The cost of mortgage is significantly higher, making it more difficult for divorcing homeowners to refinance their marital home or buy a new one. Think about this. If they bought a home in the last 8 or 9 years, they probably got a 3% or better mortgage, right? And now you're looking at 6% or 7%, and maybe they don't qualify anymore. So divorcing homeowners who are now faced with refinancing their current mortgage most likely, again, have a current interest rate at or below 4%. However, due to the recent increases, looking at interest rates, 6%, 7%. In a normal situation, nobody wants to refinance from a great rate to a higher one. On the other hand, divorced homeowners, they may have little choice but to refinance to retain the marital home or buy a new home post-divorce. Going to give you all the information in the report. Everything you need to know about this whole concept, because if you've been in the process of getting divorced for anything more than 6 months and you think that you are going to be able to buy one another out, you may get a big surprise just because of the way interest rates have gone. Now, there are solutions. There are ways of getting that interest rate back to the 4%. Yeah, no one wants to tell you that. But there are ways of doing that we understand. My suggestion, once again, get a copy of the mydymworkbook.com, mydymworkbook.com. It's going to collect all the information that we need in order to see how this will work for you. And then we can put together the report, send it back to you and your attorneys. Because, what would you think if you're going through this whole process and you've come up with this solution? Okay, party A is going to buy out party B, and party A is going to keep the house. But because you've been listening to Ron Siegel Radio, that even though party A that's keeping the house might get in the divorce decree saying that they're responsible for the mortgage, what does the contract say? The contract says both parties are responsible for the mortgage. And if party A does not pay, well, you go back to court, but the lender, the investor, is going to say, hey, I don't care. You got a contract for both of you. I'm going for Hyde from both of you. So the best way to do this, again, not giving any legal advice, is to get your name off the mortgage. How do you do that? It's through a refinance or restructuring, right? Got to go through that process. But you made that decision. You said, okay, I understand that. We got pre-approved. We got all that stuff done back in October or January. The numbers are not the same today as they were then. Get that pre-approval. The whole report will tell you exactly what you're needing to understand there. That is the Better Outcome segment, brought to you by mycdlp.com, mycdlp.com. Let's get back to our conversation with Lisa Thornton, RSC Law Group. No legal advice here. I think I've got that in every segment today. Sometimes I forget that, Lisa. So if you want legal advice, again, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I will not give you legal advice, but I will give you Lisa's number. So I see this one all the time, Lisa, because we're dealing with the financing, home finance, that, they've got a bank account. There's X number of dollars in there. And all of a sudden that X is X minus a lot. And you look at it and you say, what happened to all the money?
Somebody went shopping.
Somebody went shopping, or the credit cards are, we had no credit card debt, and all of a sudden there's tons of credit card debt.
Right. And one of the important things is the date of separation. And that's an issue that it isn't when you move out. It isn't like we're still living together, so we haven't separated. The legal date of separation is when for one party, there's no chance of reconciliation. So that's the legal term.
At that moment.
Right. Like you could move out and be going to marriage counseling from two separate homes. So you're not separated because there's still a chance of reconciliation. So, and that's proven by the fact that you're going to marriage counseling.
Sure, there's a reason you're doing that.
Right. So there's different facts that come into play to set the date of separation. And that is really important when it comes to if the date of separation is February 15th, then if somebody goes and charges up the credit cards, doesn't matter whose name's on them, in March, that's separate property debt. Because
save those receipts.
Exactly.
So you're going to make sure you save the statements.
The statements. Yes, we definitely need the statements to prove.
So it's all a matter of proof, and it's not a he said, she said at that point.
It's all evidence based.
Okay. So what about the kids? Are there myths that we need to know about with the kids? Always going to mom.
Yeah, my favorite one is that everybody thinks that at a certain age the child gets to decide. And in California, no, the child does not make the decisions for the family or the adults. At age 14, their desires will be considered, but that's just one factor that's considered.
Do they get their own attorney?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yes, sometimes there's what's called minors counsel. And sometimes when the child needs their own representation, the court will assign minors counsel, or you could actually hire minors counsel for a child.
Is there an advantage to who files first?
No. One party files, the other party responds. You exchange financials, you come to an agreement, and then we file the judgment documents. That's the most simple divorce that can happen, is forms being filled out and filed. It's the parties and the emotions that make it more complicated.
Now, in family law, it used to be, and I don't know whether this is still the case, that that you didn't have to hire an attorney to represent you in court. But if you knew everything that you wanted as a union or as a community, you could go and hire an attorney just to fill out the forms for you, but they're not representing you. Is that still something that's able to be done?
I think some people will go to either a mediator. If you agree on everything,
Right.
you don't have to have an attorney.
But who does the forms then?
You can do them yourself.
Oh, they're not that hard.
No, you can go into in Orange County, it's Lamoureux Justice Center, and there's a self-help area. So you can go in and you're considered a pro per, which means you're not represented by a counsel, and fill out all the forms. It really is more when you don't agree.
Okay, so you got to get the lawyers involved when you don't agree.
Right. And it isn't a bad idea to at least have a mediator, even if they're just filling out the forms and you agree on everything, because they know laws, some of the tax issues, some of, and your workbook. If anybody looks at your workbook, you can see how many things could come into play. So you can still have strategies that you use to benefit yourselves as parties to the divorce that can help you save money and time. And
that's probably the best way, though, isn't it?
The best way is, yes, to get a mediator. That's the best way.
And it's probably the cheapest. And probably long term for the kids. That's the thing that always drives me crazy. And like I say, thankfully, I've never gone through divorce myself. I've watched a lot of people, obviously. And it seems like, the old saying that the kids are the big losers.
They are. And a lot of the laws, the standard is the best interest of the children. And I think that if parties divorcing would truly consider the best interest of the children, where children are involved, I think it's better for the family, it's better for the friends and the community.
So what does one have to look at as a time frame? I mean, you mentioned that you've got a case that's going on for 5 years now.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it could take. So when you get divorced, the first person files what's called a petition and summons. And then once it's filed, then the other party is served with the summons. So the date that party is served with the summons is the date that the county gets jurisdiction over the respondent.
The date that it's served, you said?
The date that it's served on the respondent. And from 6 months and 1 day from that date, you can be divorced.
That's California law.
California law. That's the soonest you can be divorced.
Other states can have different times.
Absolutely. Every state has their own
process.
Right. They're not all equitable.
Now, is with what's gone on the last few years with COVID, is that affecting the timing, or is it not affecting timing?
It's dragging it out a lot. Not only are we a lot busier as family law attorneys.
Yeah, we're staying home now, so now we really know who's the other party.
Exactly. You don't get that 8 hours a day away from each other.
Exactly.
Right?
I only work half time, so I'm 12 hours a day.
Okay. So you and your wife are doing great. Right?
That's right. That's why we see each other once a month. That's okay. So it can take some. So the quickest it's going to be 6 months and a day, and then it can go from there.
Yeah, before your marital status is single, you can be done with all the paperwork and be off on your merry way. And then just when that day comes, you just remember, oh, today's the day. Nothing really happens as far as what you need to do, or it could be years and years.
Years and years probably means expense.
Yes.
Now, I know we got to go, but I want one quick question.
Okay.
Do prenuptials help this process? Or is that
That's
just
a whole
that's a whole nother story, right?
That's a whole other
Okay,
story.
I know you're going to tell me it depends. I get it. I appreciate it. If you want more information about family law, which I guess, do you handle prenuptial agreements?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you can talk to Lisa about that as well, or divorce, taking care of the kids, all that kind of good stuff. No, she's not a babysitter. I wasn't talking about that part. But as always, if you want to meet Lisa, give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
My boss just pushed me over the limit. I'd like to call him something. I think